So also I just spotted this. This would be, I believe, for your vacuum.
The vacuum, yeah.
It'd be vacuum for the pulsators on some of the older milking equipment. And then to clarify, these hooks were to hold the grain pipe.
Grain auger.
Or grain auger, which would feed into each feeder that we just looked at. I mean, this is where the feeder was, right about here.
Sure.
But these, just look down there. I don't know how far you can see on the camera. There's a hole in the wall. And that's where that grain auger came through. Right there. And that's the room we were just in, talking about one of the first electric grain feeders in that, which is now a tool room. So, and then the milk parlor was a 6-cow, 6-station milk parlor.
They called it a picture window milk parlor. Picture window? And the reason we got this style was because the wife helped with the chores, and we had 3 little girls in the house, and we could see out this window. If they would stand by the kitchen window and there was distress, then we could go to the house and help them out.
Or kick their butt.
Yeah, yeah. We would deal with what had to be dealt with.
This was pretty modern at the time, though, having all this glass in here.
Yeah.
Kinda.
And it all washed automatically. The tank, the milking equipment, had a vat, and we'd run it in here on wheels, wash vat, and electronic connections to it for closing the drain to let the water come in for the units to be washed in. Timer on it. Pipeline ran right underneath here, and it ran overhead. So, where them pipes are, that's part of this, but that's also where the pipeline hung on. So,
Yeah, here's the overhang. The cows would stand right here, probably come in right about here, and you'd put the milking machine on.
yeah.
And then if you had a cow that was, if your cows just went out to pasture in the spring, how was milking then? Right here.
Well,
With
you see
all that green grass.
You had a splash panel here, stainless steel, and a little corner on it, come around.
Yep.
And so it would drop just inside of this. So you had your small hose and for hot water with a little bit of chemical in it for washing
Washing the udder.
well, for after the udder was milked. You'd spray the ends of it.
Okay.
And then you had another one with just cold water in it. And then so you don't spray yourself. No, spray the stuff that way.
So what I was trying to get my Uncle Rich to talk about was when the cows go out to pasture in the spring, they get all this fresh green grass, and it's nice and juicy, full of water. The cows may not have been getting that much natural water in their feed, eating a lot of roughage, hay and whatnot, silage. And they go out to the pasture, get a belly full, come in here, and they'd have diarrhea.
Very loose stool.
Very, very loose stool.
The flat barn wasn't much better. These cars wasn't.
Then the tails would go this way.
Yeah, the manure would get on the tails, it'd switch you, and if you were in the if you're in the wrong spot at the wrong time, you got
wrapped right around your neck.
Yes.
And it was slippery stuff. I don't know what you call that, but
Yeah.
So that's what I was trying to get Uncle Rich to talk about, and here we are. We made it to that point.
We did, and when the cows had them first computer feeder, then they have a chain on their neck and it'd have a number on it. It would also have a transponder on it. And and the computer in the house, you'd program the cow about every 3 weeks, reprogram it or check it, see how much grain she's getting and how much milk she's milking with our DHI testing. So we would know what the cow is producing and we'd know what she needs for nourishment.
more or less, yeah.
Yeah, it wouldn't be perfect, but it would be a lot better than guessing.
Yep.
And so then you'd adjust her amount of grain on the computer. And if you want to know the cows are eating today, or if it's a sick cow, or a cow in heat, she's running around, you just look at how much grain she ate. And that would tell you she's either, there's something, you got to check her.
Yeah,
There's
something's
something
going
going
on.
on.
Yeah.
She's either sick or not feeling well, or she's in heat that day, or so that was to help you monitor what their health was. But it also could, you could control the grain out there, and you still fed a dribble feed in here. But that worked out good for us.
Did you ever milk 3 times a day?
No, but we were close to it. But then I'd have to go to court, and there might be a divorce case developing.
Okay. You would have had to hire more help in the barn, right? If you
Something
could-
like
If you
that.
could afford it.
Oh. No, Kate was a very willing worker and very, very capable. So,
You don't want to push your luck.
no, you gotta do a little bit of common sense,
Yeah.
Rich.
Okay, now we're walking from the milk parlor into the pump house.
And this is where the milk line would come in, that we just showed you on the other side. From the parlor, the milk line would come into here,
Yep.
and then we got tools sitting over this, but this cradle here is, the milk line would come in here, and it would go into the jar, and then there was a probe in there which was hooked to this, and when the milk got a certain height on the probe within the jar, it would kick the pump on, and pipe would go up and over there and then drop into the milk tank.
Which we are.
The milk
Oh,
tank was,
milk tank was. Yep.
see right here,
Yeah, we can see the
and here,
spots.
and
Yep.
then the tank stuck out of your ways, and the hose for pumping the milk out would go right through here.
Yep. And there's a door on the outside to keep critters out.
Yeah. And so the milk tank stood here and here, and the refrigeration unit was overhead in the next room, in the old grain room, Doug.
Yeah.
And then the lines would come in through there and so on to refrigerate the tank. So the wire would come on this end and, well, you guys don't make refrigerator tanks, do you?
No.
But
Insulated.
anyway. So then when you're done milking, then you take the pipe from there and you run it over to here, and here we'd have a wash vat with the 6 units in it. And then that would wash the pipeline and the milking unit. But and everything here, but of course the milk tank was washed separately with its own washer.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, and you can kind of see where a lot of water is washing down, washing the concrete out
Yeah.
before it can get to the drain.
acidy stuff in the water too.
Yep, to help clean because it's
Right, to help clean the milk.
everything inside the milk pipes cannot be washed with a brush, so I had to have some kind of a bleach, chlorine, or some other type of chemical to help clean the inside of the pipes.
Yes, besides the regular soap.
Yep.
You'd have a rinse cycle, you'd have a wash cycle, you'd have the, what do we call it? Kind of like a chlorine cycle.
Yep.
And then before you milk, you put it on a pre-milk cycle. And it would rinse everything out with a moderate cleaner.
Yep.
Something that was acceptable for
Yeah.
health department regulations.
Food grade stuff.
Yeah.
Then these things here on the wall. Well, you got an hour meter on this? What's that say?
That ran
30,000 hours? Huh. There's your wash cycle, and there's your milk cycle. You just flip it to
Yeah,
what was next.
even the girls could do it.
I mean, yeah, here's the. Oh, look at this. Still a Dairy Gold sign. That. And, well, that's a metal sign, this one.
But most of them are.
Dairy Gold member. Now, you were Dairy Family of the Year one year, weren't you?
Pardon?
Dairy Family of the Year?
No.
No, you didn't get that one.
Well, I worked as a hired man for a farm in Snohomish that was Dairy Farm Family of the Year
Okay.
Remember that.
for Snohomish County. Bill Coster, Bill and Catherine, lived on Lake Rossinger Road. It's now called Old K Mill Road. They went back in history a little further and changed the name of it.
Yeah.
That was east of Lake Stevens. A little town called Machias, and then we went 4 miles up the road to where the farm was, so we were hillbillies. This is where the machine room was. The hot water tank and the compressor and the milking pump itself.
Oh, okay.
And then they've plumbed out from here wherever.
Yep. And again, we're back underneath the original barn again.
Yeah, there's barn up here.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, where we were just at, that's all new construction, and now we're back in the old
That floor
construction.
beam there is thicker than all the rest of them, isn't it?
This one? It is
No,
thicker.
these-
Well, this
these
is
are
the
thinner.
older- These are newer?
No. They put the thinner ones to the outside where there would be little or no load when they had
Oh,
loose hay. And over by the machine, or by the holding pen, you also noticed most of them were thinner like that. But that was where the roof slides down, you know, so
Yeah.
you're not gonna be able to stack your hay as high.
Yep.
And this flooring was cedar, right?
Yes.
And that's the flooring that we weren't supposed to play basketball on because you bounce the nails loose and could break through the boards.
Yeah, we did that.
I heard problems with that. Not
some
problems, but there was
Some heavy guys
threats
did
and
that.
stuff like that.
And this was, we had to have a restroom for the help and a shower on the left in case of emergency.
Oh, yep. There's a shower head.
And we took the sink out. That was to the right.
Yep. You can see where the sink was mounted on the wall right here.
And I don't know where the heck the sink went. It just left. I think son-in-law Bert might have got it for some reason. Stanchions here, I think it was. Or would it be more than that? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
I don't remember how many we had.
Went all the way to the wall.
Yeah, it did all the way to the wall.
Probably 6. 5 anyway. So that was just like this is here.
Oh, okay. So this concrete was poured later.
Yeah, we dug this
Okay.
out or poured over it.
So I was just asking why this concrete is kind of laid like a ramp. It goes up.
What's the corner for?
So we could wash it down.
Okay.
We had a stanchion here and one here and one here, and a gate there and a fence there and a gate there with an electric control still up there.
Oh, yeah.
We could, from the other barn, from the milk parlor, we could open this vet pin gate.
Oh, vet pin. Huh?
And then we
Oh,
could run
okay.
3 cows in there. Somebody's in heat or had to be checked for whatever, you know. And
Okay.
then where you're standing there was a maternity pin.
Okay. So where I'm at, yeah, it starts to make sense. So I'm standing in where the maternity pin was. That's the vet pin on the other side of this rail. And that way, that was just really so you could get to the front of the front of the
If they had
cow.
to stay in here very long, you could feed them some hay.
You could
there
feed
or
them, yeah,
grain.
that's all that was. And then you said you had a controller, which is still there, Surge TX2. Oh, there it is. Which would open
And-
this gate here.
Yeah.
So as the cows,
But that
as the
would
cows
do
are coming down,
it. The gate would swing out.
would swing out to where I'm at,
Yeah,
and then the cows would have to go into here,
yeah,
and then they could go into these, what used to be stanchions right there.
yeah.
Okay. So this concrete was poured later. Again, we're underneath the original part of the barn, but this was, looks like it was added with the newer milk parlor in 1978-ish.
Corner was big enough to back the trailer in, and to dump the busted cement, we'd try to put a chain on the axle of the trailer into the drawbar of the tractor, and when we the Sonny's pit was over there, and we weren't using it, so we were filling it in with the busted concrete, a place to get rid of it. So we'd get it back in there, and so there was more weight on the back it over the edge a little bit, and then pull the pin on the drawbar, and the front end would tip up and dump it, and you just pull it out with a chain, and back it in here. And any cement that we took out was all busted by hand with a ball. And then we'd dig out under what was there, and we put a board and a hydraulic jack on it, and we'd put a little tension on it, and how big a chunk you want to knock out. It's usually something you could handle by yourself. So you took your maul and you just started making it round or square, however you wanted to do it. And you did that 2 or 3 times, put some more pressure on it, and another time, pop. Then you could pick it up and carry it and dump it in the trailer, or put it in a wheelbarrow.
All right, so what my dad's talking about here is a lot of this concrete's not really original anymore when they built the barn in 1940.
None of it in this side.
So, yeah, on this side. So where he's at, he's saying, well, and when we first started this video, we're standing in front of where the drive-through of the barn was, and I talked about the barn doors. That window straight ahead is on the other side of the wall outside is where we were standing. So this used to be the drive-through of the barn. So what my dad's talking about is they busted all this concrete out, the original concrete, out by hand. The maul, use a jack up underneath it, break the concrete, load it, and have to go dump it.
By hand?
By hand.
So we put mixed all this concrete, what was all not original, after we got the old stuff out. Dad was pretty good about knowing how to build stuff, figuring it out. And he figured out where he wanted his walls and everything around it. And I was outside mixing concrete and wheeling it in here, and he was kind of finishing it off, and as we went, that's how we did it.
So how many...
To make that part of it work with this, let's see. We had to pour concrete in here, especially like where the old silo was, for the cows to walk over between milking. So we had to pour it between milking. We had to pour it as soon as the cows were done milking out of the barn. We poured that stuff so it would be dry enough to walk over.
Yeah.
And then all this was, everything over here was added on top of that, on top of what was there, so it would match height for this.
Yep.
Everything was the same.
Wow. Yeah, that takes a little figuring out, to say the least.
Yeah.
So you can hear Uncle Rich going, wow, it's because he wasn't here the whole time till 1961 when you moved in.
Yeah.
So he wasn't here for all this.
So I was lucky I got to miss 8 weeks of high school for that.
So lucky. So this is what you'd call the flat part of the barn, the flat milking parlor?
Yes.
And how many stanchions?
46.
There were 46 altogether.
Oh, it's more than what was here.
Yeah.
So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So maybe 7 on each side right here.
5, you probably had 12 here.
Didn't we have another row? We had a third row here on the short side.
No,
can't
not
remember
on
if
this
we
one.
had
This had pins and stuff, Doug.
Okay, I don't remember that part of it for some reason.
So they had 46 stanchions to milk cows in
Yeah.
the flat parlor.
And this is how far the dairy barn was all on that side.
Oh, so
And
from
these were maternity pens or box pens and so on.
before
Calves,
this was
young
transferred into the new milking parlor. So
Yes.
from here, it's basically from the green pole.
Yeah, right like this, excuse me.
Yep.
And the cows went
From here
out
over is
the
milk.
barn on the northwest corner to go to the pasture or go out in the yard or whatever.
Yep. Okay, and I see the ladder
And then
go up, but we'll get up there later.
Get a close up of these beams, how heavy they are. How
Yeah.
they're held together.
I mean, that's not a solid beam. They're
Two of them.
two smaller beams bolted together.
That's a strong 4-inch, so that's just rough 4x4s.
So rough cut 4x4s. Oh, that's
12,
4 by
aren't they?
10.
12.
12, so a rough cut 4 by 12s. Two of them bolted together, so you got an 8 by 12 basically.
Didn't they used to call these bolts and stuff that they used on bridges?
Might be,
Yeah,
Doug.
them big
bridge-
washers on
bridge
them, the old
washer.
wooden
Yeah, I
bridges.
think you're right. And that come out, that's part of the, taking the mill, the drying shed down in Bellingham.
Okay.
So they didn't buy these things, they came
Yeah.
with it, so to
They-
speak.
Yeah, because you said it was all bolted together
Yeah.
pretty much in Bellingham, so all they had to do is unbolt it, load it. All you had to do, right?
All.
That's it.
And we have this stuff all cut up at Great Western, hauled it over here on the.
Oh,
highway.
oh, that's right, because this is the
Yeah,
drive-through,
this is the old stuff, yeah, our new stuff.
Yeah.
the new stuff. Yeah, so this is what they're talking about that they put up later when Uncle Rich wasn't here. My dad and Grandpa. So yeah, those were all cut at Great Western.
Yeah.
And that's rough cut as well.
We had to
Notch
have
them all
notch to
down.
make it fit.
Oh yeah. There's your
Well,
notch.
that's a lot of extra work, Doug.
Uncle Sid, my Uncle Sid had or brother Sid had a chainsaw, they called it a Wright, it was the brand name, but it didn't go around
Reciprocal?
as a chain, like a saw blade, just go back and forth.
Yeah.
It really worked good. And that and an ads, we're able to get these set in there.
Our Grandpa Bauman had lots of experience with logging and woodworking and from his youth on, and he was ambidextrous, so he could hammer right-handed or left-handed, chop the same way. So he kind of had an advantage of some people.
Well, and as a kid, he worked in the woods in Wisconsin too.
Right.
I guess that would be a whole nother story if he was around to tell it.
Yes, it would
When
be.
when you sitting at the dinner table to eat, you didn't halfway stand up and reach across somebody to get a piece of bread or whatever off the table. You could probably get stabbed in the arm with a fork.
And he learned to eat his dessert before his main course, because otherwise there would be no dessert left in the logging camp.
Oh, an
He was
logging
only
camp,
like
yeah.
15 or so when he was in the logging camp,
Yeah.
I think. Because he never went to high, well, he only went to the third grade.
Sixth grade.
Sixth grade, that's
Sixth
right.
grade.
Sixth grade, yeah.
All right, let's go around to this other side.
I'll get a short story off of this ladder. We used to do all the chores before we started milking. We'd go to the house and eat supper and come back and do the milking. Well, I was up in the hay mow throwing the hay down.
Into the driveway.
All loose
here.
hay, not baled hay, loose hay down. Yeah, it came down like right over there.
These things weren't in here then, it was open
Yep.
driveway.
Yeah. And so I was up there throwing down hay, and while everybody else was, I don't know if I was messing around or what, but anyway, everybody else had gone to the house, and I was coming down the ladder, and I got in kind of a hurry, and I missed a step. And I don't know if it was like right here, or if it was one of those, but I know I was trying to come down faster because I wanted to go eat. So somewhere I tripped, and this was just dirt here, hard dirt.
Yeah, hard.
With some rocks in it here and
Yes,
there, but
yeah.
either way, I landed on the ground. I don't know if I landed on my side or my head or what, but I know I was knocked out for a little bit. And John come and was, trying to figure out why I was so late. Because I don't know how long I laid here. I have no idea.
Okay, well, now we're talking about Brother John,
Yeah,
my
brother.
Uncle John.
Yeah.
Not their Uncle John, my Uncle John.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know how long. I don't even know if I got out of doing chores the rest of the night.
Well, you should have.
Oh.
And you should have an extra piece of pie too.
And should have ate that first.